good, y'all? It is your boy Ghiman Mckinney. I'm back here with another video for you guys. Happy New Year's, by the way. I hope you guys have a great 2019. Hope your 2018 year was pretty good. It was a great year in sports, things like that. It was a great year for me overall. I'm excited for the new year though. But the playoffs are here for the NFL. You got the wildcard games. There's some new blood in here this time around. You got the Texans. The Cowboys who didn't make the playoffs last year. The Falcons made the playoffs. Jaguars, some old teams out, things like that. It's an exciting time. I'm excited to break down some of these games. I'm gonna give you my predictions of who I think is gonna win and why. And without further ado, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it, and let's get started. Oh, by the way, go Packers. I know it was a bad year for us, but we will be back. Discount double check. Before I do get into the video, however, I did want to give a apology to the Philadelphia Eagles. Once again, I whiffed on you guys a little bit. I still don't really believe entirely in you guys, but you guys made the playoffs. You surprised me. The Minnesota Vikings, you choked. But, congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles fans. You made the playoffs, so congrats. But we're going to break down the Colts versus the Texans game. This is a game that's really exciting to me, guys. I do think the Texans are going to win a close one. I think it's going to be a shootout. I just think the Houston Texans are a better team, I got my notes on my phone this time. But, Andrew Luck, listen, he's given the Texans a lot of problems. The last two games he's played them, he's thrown for almost 400 yards and way over 400 yards. They did split in the regular season. I do think because the Texans are at home, they will win. I think they're a better team. Andrew Luck, to me, as good as he's been, guys, he has turned the ball over 18 times this year. That's not great. That's not a recipe for success. I think in this playoff game, I think he will turn the ball over maybe once or twice. I think that's the key for the Texans. They're top 3 in the league in creating turnovers. I do expect them to get an interception, maybe a fumble or two. I think that they're going to create turnovers. I expect the Houston Texans defense to bend a lot, but I don't think it'll completely break. I love the Texans' weapons. They got Demaryius Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson's been playing out of his mind. I do think he should have made the Pro Bowl. I do think he will slightly outplay Andrew Luck. The Texans don't turn the ball over. They're bottom 3 as far as not giving the ball away. I do think this will be a very, very close game. I think it'll be a shootout type game. Andrew Luck, I don't love the Texans secondary. I love their front 7. I think this will be a key matchup. They can get pressure on Andrew Luck. I just think that Deshaun Watson is going to outplay Andrew Luck just a little bit. I think the weapons he has is a little bit better than Andrew Luck's, and I just think the Texans are going to prevail and win this game. I think they're the better team, and I got the Texans winning a very, very close game. All right, so up next, I got the Cowboys and Seahawks game I'm going to go over. I do think Dallas is going to win this game somewhere around the lines of 27-20. Dak Prescott, if you have not been watching football, I gave him a little bit of heat, but he's been one of the hottest quarterbacks in the league. The last 8 games, he has 12 touchdown passes to only 3 interceptions. That's great. That's a great second half for Dak Prescott. That Amari Cooper edition has been amazing. The Dallas Cowboys will be looking for revenge, however, versus the Seahawks. The last time they faced Seattle in Seattle, they lost. I think the score was like 27-13, something like that. So I do think Dallas emotionally will be up for this game. Zeke, who is well rested, they didn't play him in the Giants game. They still ended up winning that game. I think he's going to be well rested. I expect him to have a huge big day. I expect the Dallas Cowboys to eat up a lot of clock and be balanced. That's their formula. Play great defense, run the ball, chew the clock up, keep the opposing team off the field. Dallas, like I said, they're looking for revenge. Seattle is a 500 team on the road. I do think Russell Wilson's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott is right now, but the Seahawks love to run the ball. The Dallas Cowboys are one of the top run defenses. I think they're like top 7, top 6 as far as run defense goes. Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith are the best linebacker tandem in the National Football League to me. I just think that they're going to shut down what Seattle loves to do well. And I think if you take away Seattle's running game, they become one-dimensional. Dallas is going to be able to rush the passer. And Seattle's offensive line is not very good. They struggled this year. I do expect the Dallas defense to make some plays. I do think it'll be a close game. I think Seattle will move the ball a little bit. But I just think that Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, as hot as he has been. And keep in mind, Dak Prescott, he has a little bit of playoff experience. Last time he was in the playoffs, versus Aaron Rodgers, he went toe-to-toe with him. Aaron Rodgers. So Dak Prescott, he has played well in the playoffs in the past and a loss. I do expect him to play really well. I don't love Jason Garrett as a coach, but I think that they'll do enough to win the game. And by the way, Dallas fans, when was the last time you was in the playoffs? Who'd you lose to? what I thought. But either way, I do think you guys are going to win this game. And, Dallas, you're going to move on. And I was wrong about you. The Bears versus the Eagles. This is a very, very interesting game to me, guys. I do think the Eagles are going to squeak barely by the Bears. I do think they're going to win this game. The Eagles have been playing some great football. Last 3 games, I understand Jared Goff was playing terrible, but they went to L.A., absolutely dominated the Rams. The score didn't indicate that, but they absolutely dominated them if you watch the game. Versus the Texans, that was a great win. The Texans are a great team. I've already talked about them a little bit. They beat the Texans. They also dominated the Redskins. I believe they were going to do that anyway. But either way, the Eagles have been playing some great football, and they've won some games I didn't think they should have won. Chicago, to me, they're about a year away, I would say. I think, look, Nick Foles, in about 5 must-win games, whether it be this year and then last year in the playoffs, he's been excellent, You saw him in the Super Bowl. He has playoff experience. Doug Peterson has experience coaching, in the playoffs. And, Matt Nagy, he's the coach of the year to me. For Chicago, he's a great head coach. But I just think that, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Rams-Falcons game last year. The Rams, to me, were a little bit better team last year than the Falcons. But the Falcons went up to, the Rams' place and they beat them. They were more experienced. I just think Mitch Trubisky, I don't know what I'm going to get from him in the playoffs. I've seen playoff Nick Foles, and if you get playoff Nick Foles, that's a top 10 quarterback right there. Nick Foles in the playoffs, he's played well. I do think that Philadelphia's defensive line will get a lot of pressure on Mitch Trubisky. The Bears' offensive line is pretty good. It's not great. The Eagles are top 10 in sacks. They have a lot of D-line talent. They got Fletcher Cox, Michael Bennett, things like that. I just think that the Eagles' experience is going to weigh them through. I do think the Bears are a little bit better team, but I don't know what I'm getting from Mitch Trubisky and the Bears. I just think that the Eagles are going to win. I think they're a hotter team to me, and I think they're going to play some great football. All right, so the last game I'm going to preview is the Chargers and the Ravens. I do think the Chargers are going to dominate this game. I'm just not a huge believer in the Ravens. I think they're a great team. They have a great defense. They probably have the best defense in the league. But, I just think the Chargers, they're going to come out looking for revenge. They got embarrassed at home by the Ravens in a must-win game for the Ravens. Congrats to the Ravens. You beat the Chargers in L.A., but that cost the Chargers the number 1 seed. I do think the Chargers are the best team. Are not the best team. I think they're one of the best teams in the league. They have the most Pro Bowlers. They have better players than the Ravens. They have the most Pro Bowlers, like I said, this year. I think that they're going to force Lamar Jackson to stay in that pocket, not run around as much, and beat him with his arm. I don't think he's going to be able to do that again. I do not expect Phillip Rivers to have the worst game, of the season again versus the Ravens. I think he's going to have a great day. I think he's going to bounce back. Mike Williams, he's been playing really well. They got great receivers. Melvin Gordon is back. Their offensive line is great, so they can block the Ravens front seven a little bit. And Baker Mayfield, I love Baker Mayfield, but the Browns, they're a decent team, but they move the ball up and down, on the Ravens. I think the Chargers will exploit some of those things. I do think playing off of emotion, sorry about that, is very key. I just think that the Chargers are a better team. I think that they're gonna, create some turnovers. Force Lamar Jackson to beat them. I think Phillip Rivers will bounce back versus this defense and play a great game. And the coaching matchup's interesting. John Harbaugh does have a lot of experience. He's won a Super Bowl. Anthony Lynn, it's his first time coaching in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see how he, coaches this team. But I just think the Chargers are a better team. I understand it's on the road, but I think coming off the emotion. And Phillip Rivers, he sees that clock ticking. He wants a Super Bowl ring bad. I just think they're going to come out and emotionally, they're going to dominate. They're going to get after the passer. They have the secondary to match up. I don't love the Ravens receivers. And I just think the Chargers are going to roll in this. That is pretty much it for this video, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe. Stay tuned this week. Happy New Year's. I will be dropping a lot of videos this week, so turn on them post notifications and things like that. Hit me up in the comment section. Tell me who you think is going to win in the playoffs, your Super Bowl picks, things like that. Just interact with me and things like that. And this has been your boy, Ghiman Mckinney, and I'm Ghost.